Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Fortnite video. Now, I have changed a couple things on my settings, and I know settings is such a hot topic. It's honestly probably the most requested thing I always get. Every time people want to know my settings, people always want to know when I change one or two things, and I did change two things on my settings, and two things that I think are really important to get down, especially with this new game and how it works, because with the Fortnite mares, where basically there's no punishment for building except running out of mats. That's your only punishment for overbuilding. You don't take fall damage. Going higher is usually better. Building is just such a key in this game, and pretty much on every console. Probably I know back months ago, 6-7 months ago, if you were a fast builder on console, that was unusual. But nowadays everyone's like a fast builder on console, and I'm sure there's even godly builders on like Nintendo Switch and mobile, probably the harder consoles to play, because just the settings make it so friendly, which is a good thing. But you got to make sure you have the right settings. So I'll talk about all of my settings and the ones that I've talked about before, and then I'll hone in on the ones that I've changed and why I think they're important. So just for my settings, for people that don't already know what settings I rock with, I will show you guys an actual screenshot up on the screen as of right now. This is what I've rocked with for honestly a while, and I haven't really changed this stuff up since probably a couple months ago. 6.6 on the sensitivity, or 0.6. Thing with that sensitivity now is I think they've changed it where you can move it up and down to get like an exact point. So you could be at like 0.61 or 0.62. So potentially you could move that one up. Like maybe I could go to a 6.5, but there's really no reason on that because there's no benefit, because the whole benefit around having a fast sensitivity, or at least 90% of it, is to build fast. And I can already build fast thanks to the building sensitivity. So that one's basically just for aiming and for like looking around. So 6.6 is fine for me. But on that one, honestly, what I think is that is a sensitivity that you need to make sure you can hit your shots. If you miss shots, if you spaz out on the controller, lower that one down. If you can't turn around, or if there's an enemy to 90 degrees of you or 180 degrees of you, if you can't turn to them, your sensitivity might be too low in there, and you might want to turn that one up. As far as my actual ADS sensitivity, I run a 0.43. I think that is good, honestly, because I like to be accurate at range. Being accurate at range leads into everything in this game. If I can be accurate at range, then I can, especially with the new meta of basically build up and jump at them and lunge at them because of the Fortnite mares and the glider redeploy, which is of course stayed in the game through the latest patch update, and probably, I think the glider redeploy will probably stay for a long time. I think it'll eventually go away, but they're adding balloons, which of course go hand in hand with the glider redeploy in the latest update. So yeah, that's what I think. Basically, you want to be able to hit shots at range, and I run a 0.43. Once again, these are all personal preference. And then for my scope sensitivity, I run 0.65. But honestly, I don't really use snipers that much. But when I do use them, I want it to be a little bit quicker, so I can, you don't want to be peeking. Usually, when you're peeking with a sniper, like half the time they're peeking at you as well. So you want to sort of make sure of that. So that's what I run for those settings. People pretty much already know those settings of mine because of the fact that I've just talked about them before and shown them before, so people do know that about mine. So those are the normal settings that I rock with. And now let's talk about the two that I've basically changed and that I think are very, very important. But before we get into that, one thing I want to mention is my support a creator. A bunch of you guys have been entering it already, and I really do appreciate the support on it. Basically, my support a creator is in the item shop whenever you're going to buy new skins. Like there's new skins in the item shop today. All you have to do is you can pick a creator to support. You just press square and you type in a name. Mine is the Goblin YT. So if you enter that on the item shop, it supports the channel, and that's literally all you have to do is just have me as your supported creator whenever you buy skins and stuff like that. So I thank you to all the people that have already done it, and I appreciate everyone that chooses me as their creator to support. Once again, the code is the Goblin YT. So I just wanted to say that as a little thank you. But let's talk about the settings that I've changed and the settings that I think are important, which are your building sensitivity and your edit sensitivity, because these are the ones I've updated. So on my latest settings video, which was maybe a couple weeks ago when this new stuff came out, I was rocking with a 1.3 building sensitivity. However, I did rock with that for a little bit because of course that was quicker than what I was used to building on 6.6 sensitivity, which looking back now, I don't really know how I did it. It's a dream now that I can aim amazingly and build it sort of, way faster with a faster sense. So I had a 1.3, and I said in that video that I was going to try to ramp it up, and I have. I do rock with a 1.5 now for the building sensitivity, and that is of course available in your settings. As far as the reasoning why, and this is what I'm going to say for that one. Honestly, with that setting, you should go as high as you can, because if you can get that to max, the amount of as long as you can build good, but don't, you have to have self-awareness here, and don't say, I play on the max, which I think is 2.0, but then every time you're building, your sensitivity is too fast, you're putting ramps over your head. You have to find what's comfortable for you, and I suggest moving it up in like 0.05 or 0.10 increments, and that's sort of how I would do it. So I actually moved mine up 20 points, but just because I practiced it in Playground for like a couple hours, so I took that time. But that's what I think you guys should do. As soon as you feel that, hey, I'm good building on this sensitivity, I want to upgrade that one. That is one that can push you to the limits and make you an exceptional console player, and even on other on whatever device you play on PC, whatever. So I really think that is something that is important to focus on. Mine's at a 1.5, and I'm probably going to stick with that for a little bit, but try to ramp it up slowly, 1.6, 1.7, because the faster that is, the faster you can spin and create a 1x1, the faster you can spin and do a 90-degree turn, spin and do 180s. These moves that you do in build fights consistently and that are important, and that's why I upgraded mine, just so I can keep up a little bit quicker, and I rock a 1.5 with that. I honestly think that setting is probably the most important setting in the game as of right now. Well, the most important one is have aim assist on. If you're on console, you got to have aim assist on, because if you don't, if you accidentally turn that off, you're going to be completely at a disadvantage compared to everyone else. That's just because that's how it works on consoles, an even playing field. But building sensitivity, I think, is good because it's new, and maybe, it's been out for a couple of weeks, but maybe there's some people that don't know about it. You want to find that down in the settings, and you definitely want to put that to where you want it, and basically practice and play in Playground every time you move it up 0.5 or 0.10 or 0.20, whatever you do. Practice in Playground for like an hour, and then go into some normal games and practice it, because you need to sort of get down. It's all about muscle memory and tempo, and that's why I don't really suggest changing your sensitivity every single day. Once you find something you're comfortable with, leave. I stick with 0.43 for the aim, and I stick with 0.6 for my X and Y sensitivity for a long time now, because I'm comfortable with those. I don't find myself losing fights because of those. How you can lose fights is if your building sensitivity is too low, and the enemy simply can just build faster than you, because you limited yourself from that. So that's when I'm at a 1.5, and I'm going to keep working on it to try to up it. The more I'm playing, if I was playing like 8 hours a day, which I've been playing a decent amount lately, but not as much as before, because now Black Ops 4 is out, so I want to play that as well. There's a bunch of new games out, but I still been playing Fortnite pretty much every single day for multiple hours. Most days for multiple hours. But the thing with that is definitely the more you play, the higher sensitivity you can handle as well. So if you're someone that goes and plays all weekend for 10 hours a day, you can probably up your sensitivity after that, and you could probably handle it as long as you take it on in Playground. Now, the next setting that I said I changed, because I said I changed 2 settings, and while I think the building sense is the most important one, I also changed my edit mode time, or hold to edit time. So what that is basically, pulling out your build, you press B or circle. B or circle if you're on console, right? Depending on Xbox or PS4. And basically, that's how you would pull out builds, but that's also how you would edit. And how you would edit is by holding that down. Now, this edit hold timer doesn't apply if you use a custom bind for your edit. However, I don't think a custom bind is as needed, because with custom binds, first of all, there's the issue where you still have to confirm the edit with the B or circle. So even if you put it to X or something like that, I still have to confirm it with circle. So there's a problem right there, and that just makes it even more awkward. So what I suggest is making your edit timer down. Now, of course, you want the hold time to be as minimal as possible, right? You want to hold it down for the least time as possible before your edit comes up. Well, the problem with that is because it's the same as pulling out your builds, a lot of times if you have it too low, and of course, as soon as the update came out, I put it right down to 0.10, I think is the lowest. But with that, I kept accidentally when I was trying to pull out my builds, like mid-build fight or just on Playground, because of course, like I said, whenever I change my settings, I practice on Playground for like an hour or so before, which is what you should be doing. At least give it like 10-20 minutes in Playground. You don't have to do an hour or two, but you know what I mean. And basically, that's what I found, is that it kept messing up with my edits. So I moved that one to 0.15, and then I tried dropping it down to 0.12, but 0.12 was still messing me up. So I'm rocking a 0.14 on that right now, and I think that is good because, I mean, we're talking milliseconds right here. It's probably not going to cost you any fights, but having it on, the maximum, could, cost you some stuff. So I have mine at a 0.14 as far as my edit aim assist. I think that's a number where it pretty much, sure, I may not have the fastest edit in the world, but it also won't mess me up mid build fight, and that would make me rage dying to, you know, pulling out an edit instead of pulling out my builds. So I definitely like with what I'm rocking there. But those are the two ones that I think are very important to focus on now, and those are the two settings that I changed. And I know people always ask me, yo, did you change anything on your settings, blah blah blah. So I wanted to cover it and basically talk about the updated settings and why I think those, I think X and Y, it's up to personal preference, but I really think building sensitivity, there's no reason not to go high. The only reason not to go high is if you're not comfortable with it, and you can get comfortable with this with something easy. It's called practice and it's called playground mode, you know. So that's what I recommend. 1.5 I think is pretty quick already, so I don't think that I'm in a current rush to get it up higher, but I would love to be, you know, at a higher mark in maybe a month or two. It all depends on how it goes, and it all depends on, you know, what everyone moves at their own pace. So maybe 1.5 is a great pace for me. Maybe, you know, people can work at 2.0 at a great pace, and that is a good advantage as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like, subscribe, and have a great night. I'm out. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.